But one thing, before my fourth husband came, I said, God, I want to be completely whole. So anything that needs to get up out of me, we need to get it up out of me. Whatever's triggering me, whatever, let's get it done. Whatever it is.
That takes a lot of courage and strength.
Yes, it does.
It's a lot, yeah.
Because you want it out. I knew that I wanted to have the best love making with my husband that I could possibly ever have.
Hi, I'm Angela Williams.
And I'm Katie Sedano.
And I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse.
And I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse.
Welcome to Voice Up for the Voiceless. And we are so glad that you've tuned in with us today. Our podcast is really giving voice and breaking the silence of child sexual abuse. And we both know that that's a really heavy topic. It's an uncomfortable topic, but it's one that it is so necessary, so urgent that we break the silence around it. We remove the stigma and the shame from survivors, and we are excited to every week bring you a new guest, or Katie and I have had some podcasts where we're just sharing our own testimonies because we feel like we've gone from victims to victorious. We've gone from survivors to thrivers.
Thrivers, amen.
Yes. So we're excited for our guest today. Katie, can you do an intro?
I'm so excited. Yeah. So first off, this woman is so vibrant. She's just so full of energy. I love what you're doing on social media. But let me get to the bio part. So Crystal's a nonprofit founder of it's called 90
Days of Love Crisis Center for Age Out Foster Youth.
Thank you very much. She's also a coach. She's a published author to How to Build a Profitable Nonprofit Organization. Such a good book. I kind of glanced through it on Amazon. They can find it on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Perfect. And I wrote this on the side because I'm so honored to meet you in person. But she's inspiring Instagrammer who posts about life, husband, God, and shares life's fun moments with an abundance of laughter. And we so desperately need more of that.
Yes.
We do need more laughter. Well, I can just say that Crystal and I have been dear friends since the moment we met, since the moment we laid eyes on each other. You know, you meet those people and it's like, this person is going to be in my life for a lifetime. And the greatest cheerleader, and I cheer her on, and I'm just so amazed at what God has done in her life. So welcome to Voice Up. We're so glad to have you today, Crystal.
Oh, thank you for having me. I am so excited just to be a part, and we've been sisters forever. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking like way back from the time we met, we clicked. Yes. Like, it was sisters for life, and just being a part of the retreats and helping other women get free. So I'm excited to unpack whatever God want us to do today.
Amen. Well, just for our viewers, why don't we start, because we're giving space and a platform for survivors to share their stories.
Yes.
Because, you know, the abuse is different in everybody's life.
Yes.
It's family, it's church, it's, you know, different areas we're abused. And so why don't you just kind of tell a little bit, and you've got such just a story of triumph over tragedy, and I'm excited for our viewers to hear your story.
Thank you. Well, mine started, I believe, probably like at age 5, and it was my stepfather. And so when it first started, I really didn't understand, you know, like what was going on, like what was happening.
Yeah, little ones don't.
It was like a playful thing, you know how, and that used to affect me too. And I used to see people wrestle, or somebody try to wrestle with my kids. I'm like, no, because, you know, that fear of what happened to me. And so it all started like wrestling, playing, then the touching, and feeling like, did they do it? Did they not do it? You know, when you're a little girl, you really don't know. Like when you're young, you're like, maybe it was a mistake, maybe it wasn't, maybe it's okay. And so it went on for a while, you know. I thank God that he never penetrated me. That was God's grace over that. He always would leave to go out of town, go to work, go wherever he went. So he wasn't with us like long term. He would come months and be there, and we'd be gone. And so I think in my even when I turned about, I say about 9 or 10, I developed asthma because we moved into these projects. And so I go to a doctor, and I'm also being touched in the same manner, like, and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's okay. Maybe this is what men do, because this is.
So just to clarify, the doctor was just performing a physical exam, or was
he was started as a physical exam, but then it started feeling, like the way he stood me behind him, the way he would put the thing on me, he like held my.
Right. As long as I've known you, I didn't never heard this part of the story.
I never really talk about that, and so. The other day I was thinking about it, and I was like, and I think because I don't want the questions behind that. Sometimes you just don't want to unpack those questions. Yeah. And so I never really talked about that. And so, but it did. I was assaulted by a doctor as well. And that went on for years.
So now you're thoroughly confused because you don't know what safe touch is.
Exactly. I had no idea. And even to the place where if I was with somebody or playing like a boyfriend or girlfriend, those touches became familiar but scary. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it was just like I had no clue what sex was or anything, and to just go into it. But yeah, it started at 5, and then it was my stepfather, and then when I developed asthma, it took a while, but he started touching me inappropriate. And I think when I finally stopped going to him, because I still went to him because I was having asthma. I didn't know why. A lot of times when you're being sexually abused, you're still in connection with this person, and you don't understand why you're still in connection. Like, my stepfather take us for ice cream. We're going to go have fun. We're going to go do this. I go to the doctor. Sure, he's going to take care of me if I'm sick. So it just was familiar that's just what happened. Yeah. And didn't understand it at all. When I got in my late 20s or early 20s, I started realizing some things. I started, like, that was wrong. That was not good. That was unhealthy. But who do you tell?
Yeah.
Like,
because now it's so many years after, and it's like, what's the point, kind of thing.
And doctors carry such credibility and such weight.
Exactly. And even when I told the person that I was with, it was like, well, that was dumb. You still go to him. Why did that happen? So you get that. That was stupid.
Shame.
You're shame.
Yeah, victim blame.
Yeah. So it's like, I told this person I thought cared for me. But now they're telling me it's my fault because I never said anything. Mm-hmm. And then I tell my mom, and it's like, you should have said something then. How do you say something as a child? Mm-hmm.
Well, especially when you don't understand it.
When you don't, right.
I have this thing where my family were like, well, we didn't think it was that bad because you were always happy. Right. You always had a smile on your face.
Right.
That's what
you made straight A's.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I felt like I was going to be punished if I didn't make straight A's.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like they see the surface, and we had to put on a brave face and act a certain way.
Yeah.
You don't understand it, and B, you don't want to be in bad graces with anybody.
Exactly. I had no. Number one, when it came to the doctor, I'm like, no one's going to believe me. Like, even with my stepfather, I'm like, no one's going to believe that he's doing this, because my mom was actually in the room. But my mom was either looking at a paper, looking at a book, looking at something. Mm-hmm. So, but I knew they were unsafe touches. Mm-hmm. I knew that. Mm-hmm.
Well,
and I'm standing there.
Stop here.
Yeah.
And I think it's real important that we make this, and I apologize, guys. I'm struggling with some kind of allergy, so I apologize for coughing. I've just put a cough drop in, and hopefully that's going to help. But I think that we need to ask our children constantly, did that make you feel uncomfortable? Yes. Is there something that made you feel uncomfortable?
Yes.
Does it make you feel unsafe? Give them a space.
That is
Give
so
them
true.
a space to say, Mom, that didn't feel right. Or Dad, that didn't feel right. Because, I always say that you should only have your private parts looked at for health and hygiene, but now we can't even trust the doctor piece of it.
Exactly.
And there are great doctors out there. We're not slamming doctors, but I think if a child can tell you that didn't feel comfortable, and you can address it with the doctor and say, hey, what you did to my child did not feel comfortable.
Yes.
just as a point to your story, look at Dr. Nasser and how long he sexually abused those gymnasts. And they didn't know to say anything because he was a doctor. He had authority in their life. That, again, is that authority figure that takes advantage of the vulnerability of a child.
That is so true. And so you don't know what to say or how to say it. You leave there uncomfortable. But then it's like, when I look back at it, I'm like, but why? You think about that why. Like, why? Why are you doing this? Why did you do that? Did you do it to anybody else? Did it happen? You start thinking about it.
You could probably dig up all his patients, and you probably could have a little long list right there.
Yeah, for sure.
And the funny thing about that is that I had some friends who went to the same doctor. And when I said this to them, they're like, well, I take my kids all the time. Nothing's never happened to my children.
What about
nothing
themselves?
Right, and they would say
that's
that.
Another point. You had been sexually abused.
Right.
So we kind of have a little scarlet letter on our heads that we get reoffended. We get re-abused as children.
Because that is drawn to that the spirit is drawn to one another. That sounds right. You know what I mean? The spirit knows when to
that
connect.
Door is open.
It knows when that door is open.
Yeah.
Not saying that every child that came in, he did that. They probably didn't have a door open, but my door was already open, and that's what we talk about, being sexually continue the abuse.
That's cool, because I always say we have a neon sign, but not. I guess you're right. It's something more.
Our war
it's more spiritually.
Flesh and blood. It's against the spiritual realm of good and evil that's fighting.
Yes,
and our children are unfortunately the first thing Satan wants.
Yes,
from birth. That's what Satan wants. So how did this manifest in your life? You were sexually abused at 5, then by a doctor, and I'm sure there might have been some other sexual abuse.
So, I was raped. I was kidnapped. I was held for like 4 days and raped repeatedly.
Oh my goodness, so tell us that story.
And so, I remember...
was that a boyfriend?
That was someone who wanted to be my boyfriend. But I remember I was outside just minding my business, right? And I got lured into the home. I got lured into his home. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm in here. There's people in here. This is okay. There's nothing going to happen because there's people in this house, right? And so, but that wasn't the case. I was a pothead. By the time I was 15 years old, I was smoking pot like it was my medicine. That was, that was my security blanket. Waking up, getting high, going to bed high. And so he offered me, hey, come on, let's go get high. Okay, cool. I'm down. Let's go get high, right? Go get high. We sit up there high. It's getting late. I'm like, okay, it's time to go, right? No, you're not leaving. This is a joke, right? No, it's not. And so I couldn't leave. And so I was locked into that house for 4 days where he did whatever he wanted to do with me, getting high, drinking. And when I finally got out of there, I called myself running away. Like, I'm going to get away. That way he won't get me anymore. And so I run into my house. I get some clothes and I leave because it's just chaotic. I don't know what to do. My mom's in an uproar. Don't know where I was. And so I go to a bus stop and try to catch the bus to go to a friend's house to get away from that situation. And I get to this bus stop and this car comes by. And, I'm standing on the bus stop and the car was like, hey, you're waiting out here for a bus too long. You might as well just let me take you where you're going to go. One thing that I always share with my kids now is that I was so gullible. I was so naive. I knew nothing about
the world.
Nothing other. So when he says, oh, I could take you to where you want to go, I'm thinking, okay, he looks like a nice guy. I see a briefcase in the back. He must be really nice. He got a suit and tie on. He surely can't be the boogeyman.
Yeah, he doesn't look like
he doesn't look like the
danger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like the boogeyman. And he was really cool. And so I was like, okay, cool. We'll go. And so we're riding. And I said to him, I said, he was like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, I'm running away, I'm going over my friend's house. I'm just telling him everything. Like, went to the pool, almost drowned. I'm just telling him all my life story. And then I said, well, where's the west side? I said that. And so right then and there, he knew I didn't know where I was going. That I didn't have no clue about the direction or where. And he said, oh, it's about an hour. Literally, it was 15 minutes. He said, oh, it's about an hour. We should get there before dark. So I'm like, oh, okay. You know, so we're riding. He was like, are you hungry?
Were you at this one?
I was 18.
18, okay.
I was 18. I just turned 18. And so I said, okay, let's get something to eat, you know. So he stopped at this house and he said, I'll be right back. And he goes in this house, in there for a long time. And I'm looking around and I see these, you know, his cards, his business cards. One was like a lawyer, you know, so I'm just looking at information in his car. And so when he get back in, he's like, I'm so sorry. He was gone for like about 15 to 20 minutes for a while. And he gets back in the car and he was like, oh, I just had to run in and change. And he put on like a shirt and pair of pants and, you know, sneakers. So it's like, I thought we'd go to the park and eat. So I'm like, okay, he's really, really nice. You know, so we go to the park and we're sitting there, we're eating and, you know, people see us together. I'm like, nothing's going to happen. Clearly, he's a grown man. He's not going to take advantage of me. He's being so kind to me.
Did you even think that in your mind at the time?
I didn't even think that because he looked like a nice guy. Everything paint the picture. He started telling me about his brother who was a lawyer. Like he's sharing his family with me. I'm gullible. I don't know that this is all manipulation. And so I'm with him. So we eat the pizza and we're gone. And now it's getting dark. So now I'm like, okay, how much further do we have to go? And he was like, probably about another 30 minutes, but we'll be there, you know. So we driving and now it's getting dark. So we're driving, everybody left the park, and all of a sudden we wind up back at the park. And we're at this park, and the park had like a huge lake, like a huge river lake that runs through, and everybody would hang out there during the daytime. And he pulls up, takes me all the way into by the lake, and he's like, you're great, die. I'm a kid tonight. I'm going to take your life unless you do this.
Oh my gosh, I just got the chills.
So I'm like sitting there starting to cry, like, no, you know, I'm a virgin. I don't know this. You know, I'm telling him, and he's like, no, you're not. You're not a virgin. Remember, you told me that this boy, you know, person took advantage of you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, dang, I told him too much information. And if you don't, I'm going to drown you because you can't swim. So I done gave him all types of, and, you know, ammunition against me. And so here I am, scared. I'm going to die if I don't do this. And so he just did what he wanted to do on me, right? He did not penetrate me. He did the other thing. And so I didn't know what that was. I was just like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy. Like, I never, ever even heard of that, right? And so I'm going through that, you know, down.
No.
Okay, got it.
He's down on me. Okay. And I'm like, I didn't know what that was. It just creeped me out. And so he says to me afterwards, he's like, so you have no proof, so you can't tell the police because I didn't penetrate you. So, you know, if you go to the police, they're going to, I have a brother who's a lawyer, you're going to get in trouble, you're going to look stupid, blah, blah, blah. So he's telling me all of this. I'm crying. He said, I'm not going to kill you because, you know, you let me do that and I can't go to jail. So he drives me to where I was supposed to go, which was, when I look at it, was like 5 minutes away from where I needed to go. And I go in and I'm crying with my friends and I get in the tub and I'm just soaking and so not understanding what happened. And so I talk to them about, tell them what happened. So they begin to say, oh, this is what he did and da-da-da-da. And you're right, there is no evidence, you know, if you do go, but you still got his name if you want to report because he kidnapped you. He took you somewhere against your will and all of that. And I was just too scared. Yeah. I was just too scared.
Well, by the way, nowadays, they could have. I bet when you were 18, I'm sure they didn't have the technology.
Right.
But yeah, so anyone listening, don't take a bath. Don't take a shower.
Right.
Get yourself to the first emergency room and do a rape kit because even if they don't penetrate, there are touch DNA.
Yes.
Ask for a forensic. Ask for a forensic exam. That's what you want to collect that evidence.
And I know it's scary, but so just to unpack that, because that was a lot, and I'm sorry that happened to you. I can't even imagine the fear going through you and just being in that state of confusion, and it just takes a lot of courage to have even gone to your friends and said something. But a lot of times people will ask me, and I'm sure you may have gotten this question too, like, while he was doing that, like, why didn't you punch him? Why didn't you hit him? Why didn't you kick him in the face?
Right.
I mean, but for me, I don't know.
You're scared.
Yeah.
It's dark.
I freeze.
Yeah, you freeze. It's pitch dark, first of all. Where I'm running to? I'm right there at the lake. He can outrun me. He got sneaks on.
And he already said he's going to kill you.
I already said it. Where am I going? And then I'm just frozen. Like you said, I'm frozen, even though, and it's crazy because, your body responds to this abuse and I'm freaking out. Like, why is my body going through this? So I was very fearful. And even when I got to my friend's house, I was scared, but I knew I had to say something because I was standing there like freezing.
Shaking.
They heard me on the porch, like they heard me, and they came and opened the door, and they knew something happened.
Yeah.
So and what happened the next day? Like the next day?
So the next day, I stayed there. I didn't want to go home, and so I believe they called my mom and said, "Hey, she's safe. She's here with us." Da da da, and they let me stay there for about a week. And I just stayed. I didn't.
So were there more abuses after that one?
After that, no. After that, it wasn't. I got into relationships, and those became abusive.
So yes, there was more abuse.
And more abuse. Yes. So I didn't. After that, no. But I got into relationships.
No more sexual assault. But
right.
Emotional abuse.
Right. But I didn't understand when it came to sex. Like, I really did not understand it. And coming from that, when someone's trying to do that, you feel that, like, what are you doing? This feels like what the person did to me. So because I was still remembering what happened, but not still understanding it.
Still trauma.
Trauma. I was still being triggered. And it would be like, don't do that. Don't do that at night. Don't do this. Don't touch me this way. Don't do that.
And they don't understand.
But they don't understand. Yeah. That's what they used to do. Yeah. They don't understand that that's that. And so it took years to get really understand and get delivered from it.
At what point did you make the connection that your relationships were being affected by your previous trauma? Like, roughly, I know it's
so I was in this relationship. I explained what was happening to me, but it was, that couldn't happen. You may be lying. Maybe it didn't happen. So it was no really support there. And so I really started getting into church, trying to get back with God, helping God help me get through deliverance. And it was right around the time when T.D. Jakes came out with that Woman Thou Art Loose.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Woman Thou Art Loose.
When I heard that, I actually, before that, the hospital that I worked at as a secretary, the doctor would come in, and I would hear his name over the intercom, and that would just trigger me.
Just a doctor.
Just a doctor. The doctor. The doctor was a resident. He would come into the hospital, and I would hear them call them. And this is when I started sharing with my friends, like, oh, that doctor, watch your kids when you take them, do this. But they didn't believe me. And so I remember I was going out for lunch, and one of the girls were with me that I told. And he walked past me, and he says, hey, come on, don't you want to take a ride with me? Just right out his mouth.
The audacity.
And she was like, oh, my God, did he just... And I said, I told you.
I told you.
Yeah. I told you. But I only think he knew what he was saying when he said it, because he said it so comfortably.
Yeah.
And so... then that's when I started to have a nervous breakdown. I had it at the job. I had a nervous breakdown, went to see a psychiatrist. They sent me to go see a psychiatrist. I started talking about it, and then they gave me a couple weeks off, leave of absence. And that's when I heard T.D. Jakes' Woman Thou Art Loose. And I tell you, I laid in that bed and I cried. Like, God, free me, deliver me. I don't want to feel this way anymore. And God just started pouring layers off. Just pouring layers off.
Jesus.
And one thing that the psychiatrist told me, she said, write a letter. She said, write a letter. You don't have to mail it. You can bury it. Because my stepfather was already dead. So I couldn't give him the letter. The doctor... I really wasn't dealing with that part. And so I just wrote the letter to both of them, and I just buried it. Wow. But I poured everything out in that letter and got my healing, how I felt, how it made me feel, what's it doing to me today. that I can't even be in a healthy relationship.
And there's layers of healing.
Layers of, oh yes, it was layers.
I love her. Katie says it's a rose petal. I used to say it's an onion.
It's an onion.
Onions smell bad.
It's right. It's layers. It's layers, because I remember I was somewhere speaking, and God told me about hot showers. I used to take steaming hot showers. Because I felt dirty. Even after I wanted to get rebaptized. And my friend was like, the baptism worked. Like, what are you getting rebaptized for? Because I was going through remembering how dirty I felt. And I'm like, no, I need to go again. He need to dip me again. She said, no, it worked. You just have to receive that when you got baptized, he washed you. Yeah. And I had to receive that by faith. And so then when it came to the hot showers, I was like, steaming hot showers for years, tubs, bath, and God delivered me from hot showers. Amen. That I didn't have to take steaming hot showers. And I remember sharing that, and I just spoke out, and all these women came to the altar talking about that they still felt the same way. Yeah. They were taking steam hot showers. So it's layers when God is delivering you. He can't do it all at once. It would paralyze you. It's too much. It has to be processed. Continue to be processed.
So my beautiful sister, where are you today on your healing?
So today I'm delivered. Like, I'm free. And let me tell you how I'm free. I was going to a retreat, and I can't remember where I was going. I was going to a silent retreat with Ignatius' house.
With Linda Michelle?
With Beth. Beth. I was going with Beth. And it was the first one they were doing. And I started thinking, that's when it came up about the doctor who had molested all those girls. And I started thinking, maybe I'm supposed to identify this doctor. And so I was going to a meeting, and I said, Lord, when I go to this retreat, I want you to give me an answer. Because if you want me to expose him, I will. If you want me to expose him, I will. And so as I'm going to this meeting, the Lord said to me, he said, you're free. You're delivered. You don't need, I've already dealt with him. You don't need to. He said, but you're delivered. And so I was like, okay, thank the Lord, I'm delivered. And driving, the Lord said, call the doctor's office. So I looked it up. I called the doctor's office, and he answered the phone.
The doctor answered the phone?
The doctor answered the phone. And I said, you answer your own phone?
Yeah.
And he says, I'm retired. But I kept the phone. And so he says, is there anything I can help you with? So I'm feeling on the inside, like, where is it? Like, is something coming up?
I'm sweating.
It's something, I'm feeling in the Lord. And I heard God says, you're delivered.
Yeah.
And so he said, do you need to take your kids to a doctor? I said, no, actually, I'm good. I thought I needed to. I said, but I am good. And he know my voice. Wow. My voice is distinct. Yeah. Nobody has this voice. He knew who I was, but he was afraid to ask me. Yeah. And I said, have a good day. And I hung up, and I just started crying and praising God. Aww. Like, Lord, I thank you that I'm free. God says he's already dealt with it.
So how's all that pain helped you in your life? Tell me.
Well, as you know, I went through relationship after relationship. I've been married 3 times, right? God finally gave me my dream husband.
And he is amazing.
Yes, my dream husband, waiting on the Lord. Cute. And just being so free. And I'm so glad, because in those relationships, I wasn't sexually free. I really wasn't. It was trauma, and it affected me a lot, a whole lot, I don't even want to say that they had affairs based on that, but it could be possible, Sure. However, I wasn't completely whole. And I thank God for, before I married my 4th husband, I was completely whole.
Well, sexual intimacy is a big part of a marriage.
Yes,
and when
it is.
That piece isn't healthy.
Yes,
it affects other parts of the marriage. And I struggled a lot in my marriage, and to the point when we finally, this is how I overcame. And I'm going to share something really personal, but I had to invite Jesus into my bed.
Yeah.
I had to, he created sex.
Yes.
It's in covenant. I was with my husband.
Yes.
And I had to, bind the devil to get out of my bed. And invite Jesus into my bed. You do. Because the devil's right there trying to taunt and torment during that very intimate, very precious, very passionate, very loving. Your husband loves you. I know your husband, my husband, your husband, they love us. They want to please us. And the devil wanted to rob me of that. And so I had to just literally, those words, I bind you, devil, and I invite you, Jesus, into the most intimate places of my heart and my marriage.
And I think that's good. I think you have to, because when you talk about the intimacy, we know that they're men and they're touching us in a way that we've been violated as a child.
Yes.
You know, and so we've got to tell the enemy, nope, this is not that. This is not him. This is my husband.
That loves
because if we don't, we stay in bondage. But I didn't know how to do that.
And a lot of our listeners don't know how to do that.
Half the time we don't even recognize.
And we don't recognize.
Yes, you're right.
We can't just speak to women because we've got so many men that are survivors. So men too, I'm sure, struggle in those areas. So we've got a book. Can you grab the top True Intimacy? I really want to tell my our viewers to. So this is a great resource, True Intimacy, if you can find it at angelasvoice.com. And this really helps you with your intimacy with God, with your intimacy with friends, because we put up walls with friends and trusting and all those issues, and intimacy with your husband. So that's a great resource for you. So Crystal, tell us what you're on mission about today. Like what is, you have so many missions, but run through them. But
it's funny though, because after I went through so much, I would say, God, why I go through so much? Like, why? What is this for? But now I'm living as to what's it's for.
Amen.
Because I had to deliver it to those women who were broken and got married in broken relationships, and now they see they're in another relationship. You have to be delivered.
Yes.
And sometimes that's not taught to us. We go from one relationship and we think, oh, it's over with, that's them, I'm good. And we go into another one with the same
baggage.
The same problem, the same baggage. And we have to understand that God wants us whole. He wants us healed in every area, whether body, soul, mind, spirit.
Amen.
He wants us free in every area. But if we don't get free, we take that right with us and we continue. That's why it's one marriage here, two marriage here, three marriages.
It's a pattern.
It's a pattern because we don't understand it. But one thing, before my fourth husband came, I said, God, I want to be completely whole. So anything that needs to get up out of me, we need to get it up out of me. Whatever's triggering me, whatever, let's get it done. Whatever it is.
That takes a lot of courage and strength.
Yes, it does.
It's a lot.
Because you want it out. I knew that I wanted to have the best love making with my husband that I could possibly ever have. And so I was not going to allow the enemy to stop me. Like, no way you're going to come in and mess this up for me. I'm good. I'm whole. So I had to constantly no. And sometimes the enemy try to bring thoughts back because, he's the devil. He does the same thing. He comes to try to bring stuff, and you just got to put him back in his place.
And sometimes God just protects that soulmate until you're ready. Like he has him out there because he doesn't want him to go through that pain. Right? Ooh. And Michael's such a beautiful, godly man.
Yes. So but he'd have fought with me. I believe because Mike was such a fighter, he fought in his own marriage, to stay in it, and he has his own story, but he fought tooth and nail to stay in his marriage. So I know he would have fought with me. He'd have been there to support me. He would have helped me. But like you said, maybe in that moment, God needed him where he was and me where I was until he was able to bring us together so that now we can tell the story.
Plus, you deserve a little love and fun. Yes. And it was finally something more refreshing.
We could talk to you for hours, but we're going to have to wrap it up today. But tell us just a little bit about your ministries that you have going on, because there's several. They're for-profit, they're not-for-profit.
Oh my God. We have
so our viewers will know.
So we have the nonprofit 90 Days of Love Crisis Center for Age-Out Foster Youth. I took in 8 my sister's children when they went in foster care. My husband and I ended up adopting all 4 of them.
Oh, wow.
And so we did not want the world to raise our children.
Tell them how many children and grandchildren you have.
I have
quite a few.
10 adult children and a blended family. I only birthed 2 though. And we have 14 grandkids now.
Wow.
From 18 to 3 months
and
old.
my daughter actually helped deliver one of your
Yes,
grandchildren.
yes.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
Angela
That's
was there. My
amazing.
daughter had her first
I
baby.
was with her.
I had to go get my mom from the airport. I called Angela. Angela's like, I'm on my way. She went and held my daughter's hand until I got back.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, she was in
What a
labor,
great
and I
story.
helped her.
Yes.
She needed a mama there, right?
Oh,
Yes,
that is
and then
amazing.
her daughter was there, and so God just set that up. I mean, it was all set up. And so I also have my for-profit, which is Crystal Durham nonprofit firm, where we help you take your pain to purpose. See, I took my pain, and now it's helping fulfill purpose. And so by starting my nonprofit and getting back out in the community, and so now I help you to from formation to funding. So whether you're starting your nonprofit and you're trying to get that funding,
We need her
I help
sons.
you get that funding, right? I help you get those grants. And then so I have a book. Also, Angela, I didn't tell you, this is one of the books that I wrote, How to Build a Profitable Nonprofit, but this also has my story in it.
Yeah.
I
It's a
talk
wonderful
about
read.
the abuse that I went through in it because God delivered me in so many areas that helps a lot of people. Another book that I have coming out now is Menopause Almost Killed Me. And nobody don't talk about that.
Oh my goodness! We'll have to
Nobody-
get you back to go to talk about that book.
Nobody talks about menopause.
Those hot
It's
flashes.
those hot, all of that, you know. And so I have that coming out. And then also me and my husband are in the middle of writing our book. We're at the end. So You Want to Be Married.
Oh,
We have the wife, so you want to be a wife, and so you want to be a husband. Well, we share our triumph and how we got through.
How beautiful.
What
Yeah.
we went through, and
that's
to
what I
see
can't
how
wait to
God and what God has done. And this is all ministry. It's all ministry. It's called, we have a podcast called Black Love, where we're sharing everything that we're going through and how God has helped us get through the hard times, the tough times, and just watching God do everything that He's called to do in our lives.
Oh, that's so
Oh,
beautiful.
that is amazing.
I can't wait to read all your books. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
well,
get
we're
this one
excited.
first.
We're excited. I love you. I know people are in our life for a reason, season, or lifetime. You're in my life for a lifetime. And I know God's got more stuff for us to do.
Yes.
So I'm so grateful that you accepted this invitation and that you were with us today. And I just love you to pieces. And so we'll definitely have to have you back for the new book,
Thank you.
both books,
Yes.
and have Michael. Michael
Yes.
is a great godly man.
Yes.
And we'll have your social media links. I tell you guys, her social medias are off the chain funny. Like so funny.
They're so great.
So great. So
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. And this is just to be able to get out and let people know. So many people, you would think, you know, I'm 62, our age, it would stop. But the sexual abuse is still going on. It's still
it's at a greater
happening.
level.
It's
I think COVID increased it, and I think
Yes.
the internet and the pornography available,
Yes.
and now children sexting pictures of themselves.
Yes.
Like it is getting,
Yeah.
it's just propelling. It's just,
Yes.
it's an epidemic. That's just all we can do is all we can do, and we're doing all we can do.
Yeah.
So
And I
thank
think
you.
a lot of parents are afraid to talk to their children
Of
because they
course.
think it won't happen. And I think
I think they're also afraid of the disclosure if it has
disclose-
happened.
Right.
Yeah.
You
You're
know,
right.
it
You're
goes
right.
both ways.
It does.
And it's
Yes.
easier for them just to be on the screens.
On the-
so they
yes.
don't want, what are they going to do if they find out that they're doing something on the screens? Take
Right.
it away? Well, they're not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's
we end
just-
every podcast with a voice of inspiration. So I'd like for you to look in your camera and just really give our viewers and just your inspiration and encouragement.
My inspiration is that I always trust in the Lord with all of my heart, no matter what you're going through, no matter what the enemy has attacked you or tried to use you, right? I want you to trust in God. The Bible says that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. So no matter what you went through, no matter how bad it was, God's going to work it out. He did it for me. He'll do it for you. He has no respect of person. All you have to do is seek Him. Seek Him first, His kingdom and His righteousness, and what's God do? Everything He promised to do. Have an amazing and a blessed day.
Amen. That was
Amen.
amazing.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
Angela
It was so
Williams.
good. And I'm Katie Sedano.
And we thank our guest, Crystal Durham,
Absolutely.
for joining us today. And we thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, help us to get this viral. And we want to thank Mesmerize Media for making this possible.
Absolutely. And make sure to comment. All the comments are responded by Angela and I. And if you have a question for Crystal, we will forward that to her and make sure she answers you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.